Well, hello, friends. We're celebrating the fourth Sunday of Lent. And on this day, the gospel story comes from John's Gospel, the 9th chapter. It's called the story of the man born blind. We'll hear the entire story. It's the whole chapter, about 41 verses. And as we hear this story today, I encourage you to just allow the story to flow by you. And if there's a moment that captures your attention, just simply enter into the story there and abide. Just rest a little bit. Don't worry, you'll be able to catch up as we go along. So let's hear now the story of the man born blind, John's Gospel, the 9th chapter. As Jesus walked along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples said to him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus said, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that the works of God might be revealed in him. We must work the works of him who sent me while it's day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." Now, when he said this, he made saliva, and he spat on the ground, and he made mud with the saliva. And then he spread it onto the man's eyes, saying to him, "Go to the pool of Siloam and wash." Now, Siloam means sent. So the man went, and he washed, and he came back seeing. Now the neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar began to ask, "Is this not the man who used to sit and beg?" Some said, yeah, it's him. But others said, no, he just looks like him. He kept saying, I am, it's me. So they kept on asking him, "Well, how did you receive your sight?" He told them, he said, "Well, the man named Jesus, he made mud and spread it on my eyes. He told me to go to Siloam and wash. So I went and I washed and I received my sight." They asked him, "Where is he?" He said, "I don't know." Now they brought the man who had formerly been blind. Kind of sounds like the artist formerly known as Prince, doesn't it? They brought the man who had formerly been blind to the Pharisees. Now, it was a Sabbath day when Jesus made the mud and he opened his eyes. See, these are against the rules and the regs of the Sabbath. It was a Sabbath day when he made mud and he opened his eyes. So the Pharisees also began to ask him how he had received his sight. He said, he put mud on my eyes and I washed and now I see. Well, some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, for he does not observe Sabbath." But others said, "But how can a man who is a sinner perform such signs?" And there was a division among them. Again, the Pharisees asked him, "What do you have to say about him? After all, it was your eyes that he opened." He said, "He is a prophet." Excuse me. Now the Judeans did not believe that he had been born blind and that he had received his sight until they called the parents of the man who had received his sight. And they said to them, "Is this your son who you say was born blind? How then does he now see?" So the parents answered, "We know that this is our son and that he was born blind. But how it is that he now sees, we do not know, nor do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him. He is of age. He will speak for himself." Now the parents said this because the Judeans had already agreed that anyone who should profess Jesus to be the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. They would be excommunicated. So the parents said, he is of age. Ask him. So for a second time, they called for the man who had received his sight, and they said to him, give God the glory. We know that this man is a sinner. The man said, I do not know whether he is a sinner, but one thing I do know, I was blind, and now I see. So they said to him, well, what did he do to you? How did he open your eyes? The man said, well, I have told you already, and you would not listen to me. Do you also want to become his disciple? They reviled him, saying, you are his disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses, but as for this man, we do not know where he has come from. The man said, what? This is astonishing. You do not know where he comes from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but he does listen to anyone who worships him and does his will. If this man were not from God, he would be able to do nothing. Oh, they snapped right back. You were born entirely in sins, and are you trying to teach us? And they drove him out. They excommunicated him. When Jesus heard that he had been driven out, he went and he found him. He said to the man, do you believe in the Son of Man? And the man said, and who is he, sir? Tell me so that I may believe in him. And Jesus answered and said, you have seen him, and the one speaking to you is he. And the man answered, Lord, I believe. And he worshipped him. Then Jesus said, I came into this world for judgment, so that those who are blind may see, and those who see may become blind. Now some of the Pharisees were standing near, and they heard Jesus say this, and they said, surely we are not blind. Jesus said to them, if you were blind, you would not see. Nah, I hate it. That's not how it goes. He said to them, if you were blind, you would have no sin. But since you say, we see, your sin remains. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to back up a little bit, and so you can crop it here. I'll pick it up after, and he said, yes, Lord, I believe. And he worshiped him. Jesus said, I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see, and those who do not see, who do see. Oh, geez, I hate it when this happens. Sorry, got to go back. Same place. Jesus said, for this reason Jesus said, I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see, and those who do see may become blind. Now some of the Pharisees standing near heard him say this, and they said, surely we are not blind, are we? Jesus answered them, saying, if you were blind, you would have no sin. But since you say, we see, your sin remains. And this is the gospel story called The Man Born Blind.